Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is the first episode of Soundwave Sunday. Now this show is pretty self-explanatory. I take a look at a sound wave or a series of sound waves on a Sunday once a month, and this is going to be the look at the figures that I have, at least, of the aligned continuity sound waves. And that's about 4 figures, so this should be a pretty good length of video. Obviously I'm not going to do a full review on these guys. I'm just pretty much going to be like, oh, sculpting, articulation, not much fluff, and just like doing the transformation and maybe the gimmick that they have with them, or like the toy feature. Anyway, this is going to be this figure right in front of me is the Fall of Cybertron Soundwave. Obviously, it's not the War for Cybertron Soundwave. This guy is a lot bigger. He has the red eyes, and he has an actual like toy function. But anyway, this guy is pretty big. I'm not gonna lie. He's bigger than most of the Transformers that I have, although most Transformers that I have are pretty small. But take a look at this head sculpt. This head sculpt is just impeccable looking, and you can see he has some light piping too in the back of his head that really does shine. No pun intended. But yeah, this is probably one of the best Soundwave head sculpts I have ever seen. Like, this thing gives Masterpiece Soundwave a run for its money. But I feel like that isn't a worthy like counterbalance to the fact that he can barely pose. Like, I can't even move his head without actually applying force, and I'm afraid to do that because I might snap something. But yeah, this guy is pretty limited in posability. He has no waist swivel. He has no bending ankle or ankle pivot. His arms are pretty limited. Like, this is like the best pose I could have got him in. This is just like his power stance, where he's just like asserting dominance over the things that are smaller than him. But let's look at the actual posability. First of all, I'm going to take off this cannon. This will be relevant later. Obviously, he has, the shoulder cannon and all that. But yeah, he's got both of his shoulders. He's got elbows, and that's a ratchet. That sounds really nice. That still holds up today. And he has no fist articulation. Now, this guy's a little unstable in the legs, probably due to his age. He's like over 8 years old. But yeah, let's see. He can kick up that far. He has a really nice sounding ratchet knee, and he has a foot. But the most interesting part about this guy is his toy feature, which is this. Now, it wouldn't be a sound wave without this, really. So let's go ahead and pop these out. First of all, you grab onto this piece right here, and you kind of push him out. He did not fully transform. But let's take a look at this guy first. First is Laserbeak. As you can see, as you may have noticed, he is not a rectangle. He is a circle. And he's supposed to be a Cybertron data disk. Like, how big are disk slots where these disks need to be this thick? Let's focus in on that. And this guy has a pretty simple transformation sequence. Just a couple steps. You push this button, and he's out. And I'm not gonna lie, this Laserbeak is pretty nice looking. Yeah, like, even though he's not a rectangle, I still don't mind. I've never minded like tape deck sound waves. But anyway, let's go ahead and close him up, and let's look at the other one, which, while it is more intricate, I think is worse than Laserbeak, and that is, he just fell straight on the floor. That is some launching power. It is Ravage. You fucking flip the switch there. You flip out his feet and his tail. And there you have it. You have Ravage, and honestly, he does not look that well. He just looks like a big-ass weasel instead of a sleek little cat. And, like, I think this is probably the weirdest looking like Ravage I have seen, besides maybe Beast Wars, and even then that's just him evolving. Anyway, let's talk about the transformation. So this guy's transformation, I think, is pretty good. First, what you do is you go ahead and take this entire area right here in the back, and you flip it over his head. for now. We're gonna remove that later. Then take his arms, flip them like this. Let's just focus on the camera real quick. Flip those out. Untab his waist, plug it in here. You're gonna want to move that. All right, so basically what I did was, look at my camera keeps not focusing. So basically right here, you can see this little hinge. Push that down until you hear it click twice. Plug it in. Then you fold up his fist. And you do that right there. Same thing on the other side. Plug that in. Fold that in. Hello. Then you plug that and put that down. Now for his legs. Go ahead and twist these wheels around. This one stops, this one doesn't, obviously because of this thing has kind of inconsistency because of how old it is and how much I had played with it when I was a kid. So go ahead and plug that in. Then do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And Jesus Christ. It is not lining up. It is not having it. There we go. And then last step, you go ahead and flip that part right here. And then that didn't look clear on camera. Let's go ahead and do that again. So basically what you do is you take this, you lift this part up. Jesus. Right here. And then you do that. And this is his car mode. And honestly, I really like truck Soundwave, like SUV Soundwave. I think it fits the character pretty well. And honestly, this is a pretty good representation of the game model. The wheels are the right color. Of course, he can't flip his wheels like this. He can't like flip his wheels horizontal and glide. But honestly, this is a pretty nice car mode. But as you can see, he still needs his cannon. Go ahead and plug that in, and you have the fully completed mode. So that's enough of Fall of Cybertron Soundwave. Honestly, I really like this guy, mainly because probably he was the figure that I had growing up, and he was probably one of the best figures that I had up until I decided to start seriously collecting recently. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the Prime Soundwave. Ooh boy, this guy is really tiny compared to Fall of Cybertron. But this guy's design for Soundwave I think is great. Although it kind of doesn't make sense that he is Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron Soundwave, honestly. Like you guys want to talk about mass shifting, talk about all the chunk from Fall of Cybertron Soundwave just condensed into this sleek looking robot mode. Now this guy was from the RID line, not Robot in Disguise 2015. No, not confusing at all. This is the RID Soundwave. So this guy's sculpting is pretty great. Obviously he's not, if you guys have seen the show, you know that he is not this color. He's more of a metallic gray, and there's a bit more purple on him, especially around the face area. Let's look at his face right here. As you can see, he's very highly detailed. He is pretty show accurate when it comes to the mold of him, but the colors are just a bit off. Anyway, this see here, the back of the figure right here, still really nice looking, even from the back. You know, that's a lot you can, that's more than you can save for a lot of figures. But anyway, let's get into this guy's posability. He has very little head posability, but you know, he has a little bit of chicken action right here. Let's go ahead and just zoom in. You can see he has a little bit of a hunch neck that you can kind of, you know, fix. He kind of does have a little bit of a hunch because of how much space there is between his head and his back. He has very limited shoulders Really, this is more so for the transformation, but yeah, you can't really get this guy into poses. This guy's more so just like, a toy that that your kid would play with. Not really much of a posable collector's figure. He has a slight elbow swivel. He can go back that far and forward that far. He has no articulation in his hands because, like, these are barely hands. These are more so just like fins with tips. Let's see here. His legs have also very little posability. That's probably because a lot of his transformation is in his legs, so they're a bit rigid. Doesn't even have an ankle pivot. Barely even has toes. Or no, doesn't even have toes. Just has like foot posability. But yeah, this guy is going to be considerably short. Like, this guy's part of the review is going to be shorter than the Fall Cybertron, because this guy's just smaller and he has less things. But he does have a little friend, as you can see on his chest. Go ahead and flip those out and then pull them off, and you have Laserbeak. Now, Laserbeak is pretty accurate to the show, although Laserbeak doesn't really have like bat wings. He has just like these, like, they were kind of similar to Soundwave's arms, and also this part, he's just not painted. He doesn't have a lot of detail on him, but that's still pretty cool. I like that. I like it better than what we're gonna look at next. But let's go ahead and transform this guy. Now, what we're gonna want to do is flip that open, flip this up, then flip his head into that little crevice. Hold on. A little stuck, not gonna lie. Then what you do is you then take his arms and plug this peg into this peg hole, flip his arms, or flip his hands in, and those go into a rounded peg. Do the same thing on the other side. Be careful of stress marks, because this guy is pretty susceptible to them. I have a couple of them on him right now, and it sucks. Anyway, go ahead and straighten out his legs more. Fold up his feet. Fold these down. Fold down his heels, and then fold down these things on the back of his shins. Then, as you can see, these little square pegs, go ahead and plug it all in. Simple in practice, or simple in concept, not so much in practice. Then what you want to do is take his arms, fold them in like this, and then unhook them and plug them in. Same thing on the other side. And we have his stealth drone mode. And man, this thing is hard edged. This thing is sharp. This thing is sleek. And it's just really nice. Like, even like the underside. The underside is kind of a bit robot-y, but what do you expect? But yeah, all in all, this drone mode, I think, is really nice. Oh, and also he even has some landing gear detail. But yeah, I honestly really like this Soundwave, and there's a reason why it's expensive now, is that it is a pretty good toy of a really popular character from the show. So let's get in from that one, and let's see how badly they fucked it up by just introducing so much stuff that just wasn't necessary. Let's go ahead and look. I really don't want to talk about it, but let's look at Beast Wars, or Beast Hunters Soundwave. Ugh. Ugh. As you can see, his colors are a lot more gaudy. There's a lot more color to him. Instead of this, like, sleek kind of purplish, or like tealish, not tealish, more so bluish kind of gray. They just have this like miasma of like random like blue splotches, gold accent detail, yellow paint, and just like deep blue and yellows and browns, and just it's just a fustercluck of colors, honestly. Like, the main color is more or less similar to the regular Soundwave, but it's just like the extra colors kind of like create this like distance between them, like this artificial distance. But also, as you notice, like this isn't just a re-release. This is a sort of newish mold. Like they added onto the mold, which is I think a common thing with Beast Hunters figures. My neighbor just sneezed outside. But yeah, this is gonna be a doozy to talk about. Oh yeah, Ravage is lost. Oh boy. So I can't even talk about a feature that he has. Great. You're just a cavalcade of disappointment, aren't you? You fucking paperweight. But let's transform him. Yeah. You pretty much are doing the opposite of what you did with the... Wow, that is a loud engine. Thank you, neighbor. God, man. Yeah. I'm sorry if this recording session seems a bit scattered. It's... Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Ugh. His head doesn't even properly work. Of course the video falls apart when I talk about the worst figure of this line. Or, yeah, of this continuity. Like, Jesus Christ. Of course. And here we have him. I don't even want to talk about this guy. This guy is so fucking flimsy. Like, you could just see it. He's just like a mangled, like, fucking Frankenstein-looking monster. He just doesn't look good. Like, he's loose. He's unstable. His hands look weird. He's just not a good-looking figure. He's genuinely terrible, I think. Like, this is probably, like, one of the worst Soundwaves that I have. Besides maybe the reaction Soundwave, and even then that's not really meant to be taken out of the packaging. But like, look at him. He looks terrible. He looks like he needs to be put down. Like, obviously he has more sculpted in detail because he's more spiky, but that is not that doesn't make him better. In fact, that kind of makes him worse. He's over detailed. His design is just like it's suffocating. And it just doesn't look right for Prime Soundwave. He didn't adopt this form in the cartoon. It's like, why does he have this? But like, let's go ahead and just throw this guy in the fucking garbage. And let's talk about something that's also not very good, but still better than that. We have the RID Soundwave, and like, also, if you guys wonder why didn't you talk about the posability of the Beast Hunter Soundwave? He has the same posability. In fact, he has kind of less posability than regular Prime RID Soundwave. But let's go ahead and talk about this guy. Now, it's RID Soundwave. He mixes G1 with Prime, and it looks pretty good. And like, he doesn't even have a robot form from either of those continuities. So his head sculpt, obviously, it is, Prime Soundwave. Just a visor with no features. He kind of reminds me of a Mandalorian helmet a bit. Maybe that's why I like this Soundwave a lot, because I love Mandalorians. But yeah, he also has, as you can see, he has some light piping, even more so than the Fall of Cybertron Soundwave. But yeah, the only accessory he really comes with is, well, this shoulder-mounted cannon. He can't even hold anything because of how weird his hands are. Like, he looks like he's just like... He's like doing like the what, why kind of hands. But yeah, this guy's posability, he has a mostly articulated head, although this like rocking motion kind of gets in the way. He has fully ball jointed shoulders. Yeah, that's real nice. Fully ball jointed elbows, no wrist articulation. He has a really nice waist swivel. Like, I'm not taking this thing seriously. He has a thigh swivel. He has a very limited feet. But yeah, let's get into this guy's transformation. Now, oh boy. Oh man, I have to remember this thing from scratch. I haven't transformed this thing in a long time. But let's go ahead and do that. Right here. Yeah, flip that up, go right here. Then you pretty much unhook this entire top section, flip his head down. See, he's on hinge joints, so you're going to want to lower that and then do this. There we go. Then come to his legs, swivel his entire hip 180. I already did that step, so let's go ahead and look at this. Flip these wheels. Flip that around. Gonna want to fold in his feet. And then we go through the enjoyable process of doing this. So go ahead and, oh boy, this is already falling apart, isn't it? I had to swivel it back around because I missed a step. And be careful here. Doing this part will cause these to maybe pop out of place. But so far we are pretty good. And then after that, as you can see, some of these toys just do not have smart engineering, and it just shows. But yeah, let's go ahead and lower his arms a bit. Put them right here. This is just finicky, isn't it? My goodness, this is just not smart engineering. Maybe it's because of the age of this figure, but he's also pretty loose. Yeah, I transformed this guy a bunch, like when I first got him, because I was like, oh, I wanted to see how the engineering is, and then I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right, and yeah, it still doesn't feel right, and my God, this guy just doesn't want to plug in anywhere. I'm feeling the frustration starting to like kind of bubble up with these like toys. Anyway, here's the goddamn thing. This toy is just not great. Like this vehicle mode. Like, how are you supposed to? You could have hid these arms. Could have hit him. Now it just looks like he's like tucking in his knees and like doing like a weird like he got hogtied or something. Like, look at this thing. Yeah, like, man, what a note to end on. One of the worst figures ever. Like this guy, and then this like fucking train wreck. I feel like I should have looked at something different, honestly. But this is the first episode, and this is more so of me basically talking about how my love of Transformers was peaked. When it came to like my love of Transformers, it was kind of sparked by this continuity. So I really have to say, like, even though some of these toys just aren't great, I still can appreciate the legacy that they have. Like Beast Hunter's Soundwave, while it is a terrible toy, it is a remold of a toy that I actually really do love, and I kind of have to give it at least an ounce of credit. And this guy, while he isn't great, his role in the show was amazing, but that just, now that I think about it, just kind of doesn't translate to a good toy. Like, they really didn't try with this thing. But yeah, all these Soundwaves, honestly, the fact that these are all one character is insane, in how like varied his forms are, and how like a continuity can take multiple different forms depending on the media, or the medium, sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much the first episode of Soundwave Sunday. Sorry if this is kind of sloppy, but this is really an off day today. But I still wanted to get this video out because I promised it. Don't worry, guys. Next month, I'm definitely going to be more concise, more focused. I'm going to be looking at a singular figure, pretty much coinciding with the announcement of Earthrise Soundwave. I'm going to be looking at the Siege Soundwave. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.